Story 1. Me? Dating. I'm not the kind of person who enjoys being alone, but dating culture is beginning to feel like a game and transactional. Story 2. I am 38 years old and still trying to figure out how to keep moving forward after losing my youngest child. It is the kind of pain that does not come with a map or timeline, just a daily effort to keep breathing. Story 3. My ex has turned my daughter against me for the simple reason that I'm happy and she's not. She has introduced my daughter to 11 different men in 5 years. I have dated one woman since the divorce, and she is amazing. My ex is still not over me, so she prefers to make me miserable by manipulating our daughter. Story 4. I was recently laid off. Luckily, I am okay financially, but after a short break, I need to figure out what to do next. Story 5. That lack of purpose, or even just the feeling of it, can be crushing. It is like floating with no direction, and it wears you down more than you realize. Story 6. All I do is sleep and work. I am starting to lose focus. Why am I bothering to do any of this? I do not have time for a social life, and I am honestly quite lonely. Story 7. Isolation. No friends, no family, no partner. I work 11 hours a day, 5 days a week. I have no time for anything else. On the weekend, my Saturday is basically just recovering mentally and then trying to squeeze in what enjoyment I can with the energy I have left. All my friends are gone, either moved away, became distant, died, or did the usual of getting into a relationship and completely cutting everyone else off. I can't date. I don't understand it, and it is mentally too exhausting. I don't have the time or energy for it, especially online dating. So there is not really any way for me to meet anyone, both in relationships and platonically. I am completely isolated and alone. Any attempts to make connections are seemingly doomed from the start, and nobody cares, so it just gets worse. I am lucky if I speak to somebody in a non-work setting maybe once a month, outside of online interactions or the occasional random encounter when I am out. Story 8. Loneliness, being chronically single and unwanted, feeling depressed, hating my job but having no skills, so finding new work is hard. Never able to have or save enough money. Sick to death of living with dirty roommates who somehow are doing far better in life than me when they can't even pick up after themselves. Basically, life is the biggest difficulty I am facing. Story 9. I have read through some comments, and to be honest, almost everyone's problem is related to the opposite gender. I do not know why we women cannot understand our men. Our little selfish desires and egos always lead us to make unwise choices. To the men, I hope you all find peace soon. Story 10. I am 26 years old and feel entirely lonely. I stay far away from home for work, and most days, I don't have anyone to talk to. My last 2 relationships left me broken and hollow, so I don't have the strength to be in another. However, I miss the presence of another person to talk to listen, to be heard, and to love. Story 11. Answering all these questions from the users of Reddit instead of watching pornography. The sacrifices I make for you all, Reddit. Story 12. Thinking of writing a book but not having enough material, so you have to create new history until you reach the part you want. Story 13. To figure out what to do with my life. I have a good job working remotely, no children, and no spouse, so I have more than enough money. However, I feel like I am missing something. In 2 months, I am going to become a nomad to see if I can find what I am looking for. Story 14. Heartbreak. After years of not truly connecting with anyone, I finally found someone perfect for me. Someone I could fully connect with and share my feelings and passions. But she was not ready for a relationship. So now it hurts even more after experiencing all that. Seeing how much I needed it, and being alone again. Story 15. I have been arguing with my wife for the past few weeks. Our anniversary is on the 31st, and we are not even speaking to each other. Story 16. I am 30 and single. Last night, I saw a video on TikTok of a woman celebrating her second child with a different man. This made me wonder what child support payments look like. I ended up on a forum for divorced fathers reading about men paying thousands in alimony, child support, and insurance out of pocket. One man said he sleeps on a friend's couch because he cannot afford housing. Another man said 100% of his income goes to his ex-wife and children, and he lives in his car. Somehow, these men were ordered by the judge to pay thousands to their ex-spouses and children because the court looks at gross income and still takes a large portion. This made me seriously reconsider the idea of having children. Story 17. Biggest? No. There cannot be one single biggest cause. One is extreme sexual dissatisfaction from wife, increasing responsibility, aging parents and fear of losing them, and having a single source of income. Story 18. Working 13-hour shifts 5 days a week. My son was born 2 weeks ago and my daughter is 2.5 years old. I get to see them for 2 hours most days. Story 19. Lost my big brother 4 years ago, and I have been looking after my mum non-stop since then. It only just hit me this week that he is gone and I will never see him again. He was my hero, my blueprint for being a good man, and the closest thing to a father figure I had. I am older than him now, and that is messing with me pretty badly. Story 20. Inability to say no without feeling like I have hurt the other person. I brought this up to a therapist in the past who claimed that it is a consequence of people pleasing, which I do not think is true. I was raised in an environment where any act of disagreement would cause them to feel betrayed. This leads to me being a pushover and agreeing to everything, which breeds resentment over time that progressively worsens. Reading Nietzsche definitely helps offset some of those feelings and maintain my autonomy and dignity. Story 21. I am 31 years old, and I had a psychosis episode a year ago. Since then, I have been at home taking care of myself. I am no longer working. My psychiatrist told me to stop using clonazepam to sleep, and it has recently been a challenge for me to sleep without it. I did not sleep for 2 days straight, and I wonder when my body will return to normal sleep. I wish I did not have to struggle with sleep like this. I wish my sleep were normal. Another challenge is that I have not been able to have regular bowel movements, and I have tried my best to help my intestines function properly. Aside from these issues, I am fine. Story 22. I am 45 years old and sleep through the night every night without fail. My bladder, no matter how little liquid I consume after 7 p.m. and regardless of how many times I urinate before bed, causes me to wake up between 2:30 and 3 a.m. with a strong urge to urinate. I would love to get a full 8 hours of uninterrupted sleep for a change. Story 23. Knowing that this is how the world is for men, hatred toward men is on the rise. This was posted recently and it received many laughs. A woman doused her friend in fuel and set him on fire for a misogynistic comment. The court heard. Similarly, when women cut men's penises, people laughed about it on live television. Story 24. Not working hard enough. Having a girl who is interested in me, but she is extremely rich, whereas I come from a lower middle-class family. Family problems. Financial problems. Story 25. Balancing pressure involves being strong for others while silently managing stress, financial expectations, and trying to stay emotionally grounded without always feeling there is space to talk about it. Story 26. One short-term problem, one long-term problem. Short-term problem. Still recovering from getting coronavirus a couple of weeks ago. I have a lingering cough that might be a sinus infection or walking pneumonia. I am going to the doctor again today to see if I can get a better idea and possibly more medication. Long-term problem. My wife and I are in a challenging stretch of our marriage. We are both feeling overwhelmed and underappreciated and are struggling to connect with each other. Story 27. Just too many loans and the feeling of failure from not being able to provide the best for my family, including my mother and siblings. I feel like I have already failed my father, who passed away recently, and I have not been able to make some of his dreams come true. Story 28. Between managing a small job shop, attending school, exercising, and eating right, my biggest difficulty is trying to stay happy in my head. It has been a struggle lately. Story 29. Trying to figure out how to leave a toxic family environment so I do not have to deal with it anymore. Story 30. Finding the will. I recently broke up with my girlfriend. I only see my daughter 2.5 days a week. I feel like I have failed as a boyfriend and now as a father. I would do anything to get my girl back. I am worried about her moving on and finding someone new. That would destroy me. Story 31. I just can't get my driver to square up at impact, causing a slight turn to the right of my ball flight. Otherwise, everything is okay. Story 32. I have 18 and a half years of active duty in the Navy. I can retire before the seemingly impending war with China or continue doing what I have been training for all this time and serve a few more years. Story 33. As a single father, I strive to pay the rent and be a good role model for my daughter. I want her to remember me as her protector. Recently, I sabotaged a relationship which devastated me. I hope to confront my inner struggles and learn to love someone. Story 34. I have been keeping my mouth shut and avoiding sharing my opinions for over a decade now. I am tired of it. I am tired of not voicing my thoughts just so I do not hurt the feelings of others. I think I am done playing that game. Story 35. Relationships-wise, TikTok has consumed the lives of our loved ones. Life is the motivation to keep going. Story 36. Money. Honestly, I can handle everything else, but I want a lot of money for the freedom to never have to think about money again. Story 37. I'm in my I have healed well, and I am not dealing with toxic situations era. I am surrounded by toxic and depressed women. I am patient and a kind man, but I am basically okay with being alone now. I cannot do what I did before with my children's mother and handle a toxic relationship. Story 38. Career bro, all my cousins are either in Indian Institutes of Technology and Indian Institutes of Management, while I am still looking for a college. I feel ashamed to face my family members. I was so close to my cousins once. Now I feel like I don't even know them. I feel so unmotivated these days. Story 39. This post is clearly directed at men, but I confess that when I see these kinds of posts, I stop and read them. It is not surprising to me to see how many say they are trapped in an unhappy marriage or worse, that their ex-wives manipulate them through their children, because yes, that is manipulation. It is disgusting to me that a woman does that. They are making their own children suffer just to make a man's life miserable. If you are a woman like me and you are reading this, let me tell you that you are making your life a living hell and creating trauma for your children. Change yourself, do something you have wanted to do, make yourself pretty, and stop ruining your ex's life. For those who are still in a marriage that no one wants, get a divorce or give yourself a break and stop being unhappy or hurting another person's life. Story 40. My lack of proficiency in phlebotomy affects my ability to collect blood from patients. Each failure diminishes my self-confidence and is frustrating for both myself and the patients. Story 41. Going back into the dating world after my ex-wife cheated on me. I have a very jaded perspective on dating nowadays. Story 42. I am helping support my parents, so money is a significant issue. My health is also not the best right now. These two issues affect each other somewhat. Story 43. In a word, survival. Everything right now is sink or swim, from jobs to relationships. I am going as far as trying to put my eggs into the YouTube basket, just so I can live comfortably if it takes off. It is also showing where my relationships lie. Story 44. Constantly in an unstable mood that fluctuates from wanting to pursue and working towards goals with overwhelming effort, to sometimes happy crying with sentimental thoughts. Planning or setting dates for my non-existence, often accompanied by painful crying. Feeling nothing, neither a good feeling nor bad, but almost indifference to life. Being myself, or at least what my baseline would be. Stability is not something I am fortunate to have. Every few hours or less, I feel like my mood changes. Story 45. Trying to buy a house. I make $70,000 a year, but cannot afford anything within an hour of my job. Not unless I want a trailer or condominium. I just want my own house on land. Story 46. Cannot move out, stuck on methadone, was homeless last Christmas. Cannot get a job and my curriculum vitae is very good. This is just how it is in a truly dying empire, the United Kingdom. Story 47. My psychological problems prevent me from living in peace due to experiencing difficulties day after day. If anyone is interested, I can explain in more detail. Story 48. constantly on the verge of ending it all. Reading these other comments makes me feel grateful for what I have in life, but my mind seems to want to give up and stop going through the motions. Today is a good day. Story 49. That no one really cares. I moved halfway across the country for a job with okay pay. I am alone, and the job does not give me any time to be social. Suicidal thoughts are rampant. I barely hear back from close friends at home. None seem to respond when I say how bad it is out here. I know if I quit and come back at 30, I will be looked down on with nothing. Story 50. Relationships. You have to make the first move. You have to move past any rejections. You need to be in a good financial position. You must be mentally strong, figure things out on your own, or keep everything inside. Although women say they want a man who opens up, experience and numerous reports suggest otherwise. You must accept if she already has a child. No questions asked, including divorce or ex-drama, limited time due to no babysitter, and family-friendly outings if children are present. Also, maintain the usual qualities for a strong, healthy relationship. Be supportive, outgoing, accepting, have a plan for the future, and be providing. Story 51. Finding a job with 2 degrees in computer science and project management. Graduated in August and still unable to find anything remotely worthwhile. Applied for roles as project coordinator, project manager, software engineer, and web designer, but still struggling to land a position. At this point, I am willing to accept any opportunity to break into the field and work my way up. Story 52. For me, it's a small level of financial security to make everything work smoothly. I am so tired of all the worry over money. I do not want to be rich, just secure, you know. Story 53. Answering for my man, but he was recently laid off. He is getting interviews right now, so hopefully one of them offers the position. Let us pray it is the one with the highest pay and uncapped commissions. Story 54. When I am around the person I like, I get a boost of oxytocin, and I am the most productive person for an entire week before it tapers off. The problem is, that person does not see me the same way. I know for a fact that if I do not work on myself, no woman will magically see potential and start loving me. I have been deprived of love all my life, so I am used to it, but I do not want to be. Without the support and boost, it feels like I am chained to the ground, trying to break free and improve myself. I want love and comfort to complete my mental hormone balance and become the best version of myself, but I will not get love and comfort without becoming the best version of myself. Does anyone have advice on how to force myself to stay committed and work on myself? Story 55. I was working for my former father-in-law, a position I took after leaving the army to take care of my mentally ill, drug-addicted, alcoholic wife. After I divorced her and rekindled a relationship with my high school sweetheart, she began to make my life a living hell. I had to block her, have my family block her, and obtain a no-contact order. This situation also made my professional life very difficult because the owner of the company could not accept that he had raised an immature, prematurely aged 35-year-old who still thought she was 16. I finally had to quit, and now I am starting a new life. Story 56. My girlfriend left me, which I honestly cannot blame her for, and found a new partner. She has a child with him now. It still hurts me to this day. Story 57. Wondering if I should forgive my ex and take her back. I still feel bad for refusing 1 month later. Story 58. Anxiety. Everything gives me anxiety. If I start working out, I am afraid I will stop again. If the school year starts, I am afraid of not doing enough. When the exams come, I am afraid of not scoring enough. After the year is done, I am afraid of next year. If a girl gives me attention, I am afraid it is just a phase and she will lose interest. Everything is a headache, a constant feeling of anxiety and uneasiness. Story 59. Job and money. I am currently trying to advance my career, but in this job market, nobody wants to hire me because I do not have any previous experience in the field. Everything else is sorted. I just need a job that pays a bit higher than average. Story 60. I have many intense ideas, including grandiose and paranoid delusions. I am trying to differentiate between what is pragmatically in my best interest and what makes me feel fulfilled. Perhaps if I engaged in more extreme sports, I would be less consumed by delusions. Story 61. It's like a game. The hardest part is establishing yourself. It is the most frustrating and annoying part. It is where a person feels like a loser, has nothing to themselves, nobody likes them, and nobody would accept them. You are just trying to save money, establish connections, and it gets better from there. Also, trying not to die on the streets and preserve health. Story 62. Finding financial stability. I didn't exactly pick a clear career path. I went to art school, but I feel like I'm finally on the right path. Unfortunately, I found my way just as the entire art market experienced a major downturn. Such as life. Story 63. An umbilical hernia causes me 5 to 6 hours of excruciating pain. Thankfully, I have repair surgery scheduled for next month. Story 64. 34-year-old male. Biggest difficulty I face right now is planning a Dungeons & Dragons campaign for my friends who are all new to Dungeons & Dragons but very curious. Our group is 4 women, 3 men, plus me as Dungeon Master. I have a campaign ongoing with my buddies online, but they are all veterans and we have been playing together for about 10 years. And I cannot decide which Space Marine Chapter 1 really connect with. I am stuck between the Raptors, the Retributors, and the White Scars because who does not like Space Genghis Khan? Story 65. I am 42 years old. After almost 21 years of marriage, my wife suddenly decided 3 weeks ago that she wants a divorce. We started dating when we were 14. She has always been my life, and I thought she always would be. I have not been in this much pain since my father died when I was 20. I have never imagined a life without her. Story 66. Should I waste this fine summer day and do something outside? But to do so, I have to wake up the cat that is sleeping on me. Story 67. I broke my ankle in 5 places and had a fight booked on the 1st of June. I went from being in great condition to a blob on the sofa. It is tough, but that said, I am really lucky. It has shown me in a strange way that people appreciate and care for me, and somehow I have earned that, which is a beautiful gift to have even in a difficult time. Story 68. Trying to figure out how to be a normal human being and not a good-for-nothing pile of flesh and bones. Story 69. Coping with losing my 20s to being nearly homeless and working my best years away because of a difficult stepfather who left my mother and me when he lost his job to live with his sister. Now I have my own house, but I am trying to figure out how to have genuine fun in life and relationships when I cannot bring myself to leave my mother on the street. So she lives with me. She appreciates it, feels bad about it, but she loves me a lot. The thing is, I never got to have the fun part of life when everyone was carefree, adventurous, and passionate. Now I feel very unfulfilled, but I do not have the right to complain since I have more than most, so I have to feel lonely in silence. My whole life since age 21 has been work, planning, budgeting, and surviving. I do not want to settle down and have children because I never got to experience that, and I am tired from caring for my mother and her trauma. Anyway, back to a responsible, quiet life by myself. Story 70. Man, do I struggle with being unemployed, my mother having Parkinson's disease, my father falling down the stairs, my wife now at the other end of menopause, my daughter's ex-husband abusing her, or losing 2 family members to cancer. Or do I cope with my post-traumatic stress disorder, depression, and night terrors? All of this has happened in 2025 so far, except for the last part. Story 71. I have health problems that cause me pain every day, and I have not been able to work for years because of it. The situation is getting worse. The person I thought I would spend my life with left me, and in my current state, I do not think I will be able to find someone else, although I am not sure I want to. I am facing the possibility of being alone for a long time, perhaps for the rest of my life. I have no friends I see regularly. It has been 2 years since I last saw a friend. I barely talk to anyone since my ex left. Loneliness is the biggest challenge for me. Story 72. Trying to get a woman. I just don't know how to. I really don't know. It is the only problem I face in my life currently. I have finished college and graduated high school on the first try. I have always met all my dad's expectations for his son. I have a paid-off car. I make $85,000 a year at my job, which is very stable and steady. I am also a trainer. I have my own place. I have $25,000 in my savings and no debt. My student loans are paid off. I am not overweight. The only thing I have never been able to accomplish by the age of 27 is a partner. A woman. Everything I have done and overcome has been 10 times easier, even the hardest obstacles, than talking to a female. I do not know why. Story 73. Financial stability. Constantly battling suicidal thoughts without the ability to afford professional help consistently. I currently live in a high-crime area of Houston, Texas, and I am only there because of the affordable housing situation. Story 74. I'm bald, 6 feet tall, tattooed and pierced white man. I'm constantly being called a skinhead, even though not a single tattoo on my body contains any kind of hate. Story 75. Being able to focus on my studies and stop being addicted to games and sweets, so I can maintain a healthy weight. Story 76. At a point in my life where I do not feel worthy of dating someone, I have gotten clean, have a job, lost a decent amount of weight, and am almost debt-free after being an addict for 10 years. I have a car and good company but struggle with crippling self-doubt and feel flawed and broken. However, I would love to have someone in my life who is my partner, whom I could love, show affection toward, and build a life with. Story 77. Fell in love with my best friend. We got very close. He started telling me things like, "I've never sung in front of anyone before. Can I sing for you? When you compliment me, compliments feel good for the first time in my life because they're coming from you. I read the birthday card you wrote for me. It's the first time in my life that it felt good to read a birthday card. For the first time in my life, the idea of living with someone else instead of living alone feels good because it would be you. It couldn't be anyone else. Our friendship doesn't feel like any other friendship I've ever had. I'm not sure what that means for me yet, but we can see where it goes. I think a romantic relationship would be really nice, actually. For the first time in my life, I feel comfortable talking about and considering dating someone because it would be you." A few days after that last one, he went into a trauma spiral and has now convinced himself that he's straight. We are both men. It is clear that he is not straight. I do believe him when he says he's attracted to women, but it seems obvious that he's bisexual. I've noticed him check me out a lot, check other men out, make comments about men's bodies, and so on. He tells me about his favorite gay, not safe for work artists and the parts of men's bodies that he's most attracted to. I asked him what he's into the most, and he pretty much just described me, though I don't think he realized it. He has a lot of trauma and post-traumatic stress disorder from his childhood and genuinely doesn't remember saying most of the above things to me. I love him very much. I would give him the whole world if I could. Saying all that to me, then telling me he feels really afraid and confused, that would have been fine. It's okay if he doesn't know or isn't sure right now. But he's been saying that none of it meant anything. He didn't mean it. The parts of him that said those things to me aren't real, and he'd be fine if he never saw me again. And it is breaking me. It is painful even to just be around him now, especially in a group setting, where he talks about how much he loves romance and wishes he had a sweet and sincere relationship, and it's like I am right here. I asked him if it is true that being around me makes him feel influenced to do things he doesn't like, such as acting emotionally intimate with me. Then am I bad for him? He told me his therapist said he shouldn't really see me much anymore and that we should take space. It hurts so much. I love him so much. It seems obvious that he loves me too, but his trauma is shutting it down. I wish I could do anything for him, anything that could help. He is the best person I have ever known. I love him so much. I hope we can reconnect. But I am scared that us talking about dating pushed him away. I am scared we will never go back to the closeness we had. I am scared that I have lost him. And I am scared that I failed him by seeking clarity too soon. I have never felt more seen and understood than I did with him. I hope we don't stay apart like this forever. I miss him very much. Story 78. Body dysmorphia and feelings of not being good enough. I know it's all in my head, but I have a certain vision of what I want to look like, and I don't look like that person at all. It hurts me deeply. I don't want to feel this way my whole life because I want to be so much more. I'm 5 feet 5 inches tall, and I feel tiny, which is just one of my issues. I know it's vague, but I just can't like or love myself. Story 79. Clearing post-divorce debt using only my Veterans Affairs disability benefits. Glad she is gone, but making her leave and rebuilding far exceeded my benefits. Story 80. Loneliness, being in a dead-end job, and seemingly having no way out with just a few friends who have their own lives. I am 39 and turning 40 soon. All things considered, I am okay, roof over my head and food on the table, but I am living paycheck to paycheck. Story 81. Feeling like I always have to figure everything out alone. Even when I do not want help, it is exhausting knowing I should not need any. Story 82. Needy women. Seriously, I have no fewer than 5 different women causing some kind of drama with me. Only one of them is someone I can have a relationship with. All I can do is reply to their messages to keep them appeased, or it just gets worse. Story 83. Debt had a medical issue that put me $36,000 into the hole. I had about that much saved, but I spent about $5,000 on some fun at first, and then the medical issue started shortly after. Life comes at you faster than you can plan for at times. I am working 2 jobs to clear this debt. I was hoping to focus on my personal relationships, including any potential romantic relationships. However, this is my situation and I have overcome debt once before to my student loans. I have no reason to think that I will not do it again. Story 84. I am doing a port of old software written in proprietary technology some years ago that needs updates not possible in that technology. Therefore, I am writing a compiler to translate all that software to a newer technology stack. I have only 3 months left, and I am about halfway there. Story 85. As a teenager, my attention deficit hyperactivity disorder has caused some challenges in my life. I felt very isolated from everyone else. When I tried to reconnect, people thought I was an opportunist taking advantage of their kindness, even though they had mistreated and manipulated me. Some girls even suspected I would harm others at school because I did not talk to anyone that day. I really hate this. Story 86. I think of a wife or girlfriend like a car. Some men like the prettiest, well-built, latest model and won't hesitate to trade in what they have for a new one. It will cost a lot, but at least their short-term needs are satisfied, albeit only until that newer model shows up. Happy men know the secret is investing in that one car, making it great and better so it will last for over 50 years. Plus, my bank account grows every month. The time invested makes me a better person. Patient, a good listener, and of good character. I'm rewarded with an amazing, caring, honest, gentle, reliable, beautiful partner. Thanks a bunch for sticking around till the end of the video. Remember to subscribe, and until next time, stay awesome and goodbye.